Because the day before, I got up, got the number 8 bus downtown and walked straight in the mall. And the first thing I see is some noisy 10-year-olds. But then I see some 50-year-old couples tut-tutting at the noisy 10-year-olds. And I think, were you never young? But then I think, well, hey, it was always this way. Because I grew up in an atmosphere of intense disapproval of the young, of crusty, crotchety, crabby, post-empire British people going, these young people today will never amount to anything. We're doomed. We're doomed. And the hair, and the noise, and the clothes, and the moves might change, but it is still pretty much, these young people today will never amount to anything. We're doomed. We're doomed. Because I bet you a few million years back, when the first proto-human, a hominid, stuck a foot on the nice jungle floor next to some nice stretching African savannah, I bet you there was a whole bunch of disapproving elders up in the greenery, shaking their heads and twiddling their opposable thumbs and going, these young people today are an awful rabble. We're doomed. We're doomed. Because you know, from ancient Greece, from 800 BC, there is a bewailing litany which reads, I see no hope for the future of our people if we are dependent on the frivolous youth of today. Which is another way of saying, these young people today are a ghastly bunch of oiks. We're doomed. We're doomed. And you know, from even further back, from ancient Babylon, there is apparently a clay tablet which loosely translates as, these young people today are a shocking gaggle of rotters. We're doomed. We're doomed. And I went to India, yeah, and I saw the oikish leeringness of some of the Indian youth, who are undoubtedly more oikish, leering and disrespectful than the last generation of Indian 20-year-olds. And I wonder, what do the Indian 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds think? Do they think, these young people today are a dreadful lot, a woeful shower? We're doomed. We're doomed. And I have to admit, sometimes I look at the young folks and I think, this lot are going to run the world. Hope I die before I get old. But on the other hand, people my age are now running the world. And how well are we doing? The forthcoming environmental catastrophe the world is inflicting upon itself and intends to leave as inheritances for all its descendants, like a mountain of picnic refuse at a once famed beauty spot. Because what I reckon us old folks do is get there first by blaming the young folks before they have a chance to grow up, get smart and blame us. Which is nice and mature and adult of us. Because one thing about this world is loads more old people than there used to be, than there's ever been. And we're the ones with the power. But why should we care what the world ends up like? We ain't gonna be here, so we can have a nice time in the sun and the greenery. Well, whoops, how did that happen? The young folks get a lot of time in the shit. That's the wet shit and the dry shit. That'll sort out the disrespectful oiks. So, chew on global warming, shriveled diversity and devastated coastlines. If we keep taking antibiotics willy-nilly, in 50 years' time, they won't work at all, and our great-grandchildren might even die of a small cut. Because we can put the consequences of our actions into a time machine and send them off to the future where they ain't going to be our problem. Hard luck, sunshine. Because never before has one generation had so much power to destroy the future. And what are we doing with that power? We are using it. So chew on filthy seas and filthy air. That'll sort you out for being so young. So disgustingly, horribly young. So blatantly, outrageously, sick-makingly young. Oscar Wilde said, youth is wasted on the young. Too right. But what he didn't say was, so let's waste their youth. Thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in the eternal war between the generations, I think we are finally looking at the prospect of total victory. So, any archaeologists in the house? Hey, we have an archaeologist. Anyone know an archaeologist? Hey, anyone about to meet a nice-looking archaeologist that doesn't know it yet? What? No, hey, an optimist. Only one. It's Edmonton. Anyway, if you are, or if you do, and there's some ancient Mycenaean pot or ancient Mayan tablet where there's some serious trouble cracking the lingo, why not start with the assumption that some of it reads, "These young people today are a right royal rowdy idiots rabble. We're doomed. We're doomed." Just a thought. So, moving on, this next piece requires the first of the blackouts in the show, and as the blackouts go, this is easily the most sombre of all the blackouts. In war, in politics, and in diplomacy, I wonder if you might see and agree and affirm with me by finding your own proof that those who are now being brutal began by being brutal with the truth. For the mind, of course, cannot be led, so I can only leave the thought in your mulling head, so I don't want to make the explicit link by telling you what and which and how to think and somehow cramp your style by frog marching your mind that sorry mile. But I reckon you'll wait a cruelly short time before you find yourself more proof that those who planned to be brutal began by being brutal with the truth. And I should say for me, this came to light hiding out there in the plainest sight, because I've been watching the news for decades, of course, you see, but it only slowly dawned upon me, and I cannot be the first to think this, though I have researched it and wikied it and come up butt-kiss, but I reckon if you give the idea time and you think on the hoof, I believe it gets 4 strong walls and a nice sturdy roof. Yes, the idea was in my head, like a wobbly tooth, as I found armfuls of examples of indubitable proof after indubitable proof that those who shall be brutal shall begin by being brutal with the truth. For it's ruefully fruitful, though unbeautifully truthful, that those with an often initially inscrutable lack of scruple begin by, because, like I said, a free mind cannot be led, so I can only leave the motioning notion in your pondering head, because yes, it's a brainful of indubitably painful proof, that's a gainful brainful of painful proof, that those who shall be bastards shall begin by bastardizing the truth. So when the news is blues and the years are tears, I give you all human history as the sad, sorry proof that those who will be brutal will begin by being brutal with the truth. Thank you. So that piece was not for all of you who go for the conspiracy theories version of truth. Personally, I believe that all conspiracy theories are a CIA plot devised to keep you from the truth. I believe that somewhere in a bunker on the east coast of the States there is a team of writers who meet all day, every day, just like for The Simpsons or The Daily Show, and they sit around all day, every day, coming up with better and better conspiracy theories, and the best ones get surreptitiously posted onto the web. Actually, folks, I don't believe that. I believe that nothing is big T true, but some things are more true than others. But moving on, this next piece also requires a blackout, but this blackout is the kind of blackout that has real trouble taking itself serious. So, here we go. For the word was as blood, running within and without me, flowing in 1,000 liquid Mobius strips, looping in every shade and fraction of each and every sense and dimension. Ma'am, for the word was as a soaked up life force from this fertile soil, welling up from the ground of language beneath me, was as a rising dew, becoming a rising sap, carrying word to mind and thought, like strength to branches and colour to leaves. Mum, when's he going to start? He's just talking. Shh. For the word was as water, moving with all the flows of language, now surging out like a mountain rainstorm across a coastal delta, now as a gentle wave lapping to a low waterfall, now as a colossal wave crashing over a tidal wall. Mum, he's just talking. When's he going to start? Shh, he has started. For the word was as falling liquid, driving the turbines in the dynamo of the mind, moving magnets in fields, make men in motion from energy, and energy from motion, and emotions from words, and words from ideas, and ideas from emotions, and each way and every way, and all round again. Mum, it's just words. How are you meant to enjoy it? Shh. You're not meant to enjoy it. It's poetry. The word was as forming tissue, stringing together, multiform and billionfold, like molecules in the making, stitching and latticing, coalescing and thickening, now strung, strong enough for the mind to walk on. Mum, why aren't you meant to enjoy it? It's stupid. Shh, it's art. For the word was as blood, running within and without me, flowing in 1,000 liquid Mobius strips, looping in every shade and fraction of each and every sense and dimension. Mum, it's just words. When's he going to stop? He has stopped. Now clap. Thank you. Well, you were so nice then. I think I'll give you a choice as to what comes next, really. So there's 2 pieces. So you can either have the first one can be the nice one or the down and dirty one. So which one do you want first?
Down.
It's funny, people always say that, and apparently it is quite handy that way, because then the nice one does give you a chance to calm down. Oh, to be honest, if you'd said the nice one, I'd have done the down and dirty one anyway, because hey, it's a democracy, and you do get a chance to vote, but how often do you get what you want? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, full-on drug poem. Well, that's handy. So, this next piece is called Look Out, Here Comes the Hammer Gang. It's a cautionary tale, and I should explain, the Hammer Gang is any bunch of people you know who are out there, on one, E-wise, drugs-wise, binge-wise, who might be arriving through your door in force at any moment, particularly on a quiet Sunday afternoon. So here we go. Look out, here comes the Hammer Gang. So, you're not dressed yet. You've not quite completely cleared up the mess yet. You're horribly hungover. Your girlfriend's just come over. You're sitting stark naked on the bog. Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn are just about to snog. Look out, here comes the Hammer Gang. Suddenly, the door just scorches them and they won't stop coming. They hit the hi-fi hard to get the music pumping. They're singing, dancing, yelling and mumbling something. Look out, here comes the Hammer Gang. The travelling balmy army has just burst through your door. They've been partying for 40 hours. So now they want some more, as 3 hammered faces tell you. What else is life for? Look out, here comes the Hammer Gang. Hammer Gang. Party as hard as they can. In the street, in the pub, in the rave, in the club. Look out, here comes the Hammer Gang. They're talking a lot, but they're not words they're using. They're mixing Class A and Class B drugs with a hell of a lot of boozing. If I wanted an afternoon chat, would it be them I'm choosing? Look out, here comes the Hammer Gang. So it's beats, joints, beer, fags, vodka and coke, as they goss and jaw and laugh and jabber about some bloke. They've got paper faces and Thatcher eyes. They've got sniggers, giggles and girly cries. They're off their facey waste of spacey. They're a whole bunch mad and a whole bunch racy. Down at the end, a shit club in Soho, they make the cool look tame. Up at Coalesce, they are the rules of the game. They turn any bar or pub upside down. So what do you think they do to my lounge? And when I say she dropped the acid, I mean she dropped the acid. So they're all on their knees, like cricketers, for a contact lens, till she says, "Oh, bollocks," and ponces off a friend. I can remember when life was so much simpler. The song we sang, I will now sing ya. Lager out, goes wherever the beer's about, in the street, in the pub, in the party, in the club. Look out, here comes the lager out. I can remember having the landing lounge for the entire population of New Zealand. The knocks on the doors at all hours, because the guy across is dealing. I can remember sharing with the eternally stone gang, the won't get off the phone man, the just left home